A growing danger off the coast. Tropical storm Florence is picking up steam, but exactly where this storm is headed is anyone's guess. And that is our top story this Friday night. Good evening, I'm David Allen. Regina is off. Within the past few hours, North Carolina's Governor Roy Cooper has declared a state of emergency. Our team is following Florence very closely. The latest advisory was just released. Meteorologist Evan Stewart is here to break down the new data.
That's right, and there are a couple of minor changes to the forecast as far as the strength and the position eventually in about 5 days. So here's here's Florence. We have a brand new tropical storm, Helene, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But this is Florence right here, still holding on to tropical storm strength with winds of 60 miles per hour. So it has weakened just a little bit from the earlier advisories, moving to the west at 7 miles per hour. But that forecast track once again does call for strengthening once again into a hurricane by Sunday and into a major hurricane by Tuesday evening, with the storm located southwest here of the island of Bermuda and off towards the southeast coastline as we get into Wednesday. The chances of this storm curving out to sea getting smaller and smaller with each successive computer run, and this track has shifted just ever so slightly off towards the south from the earlier advisory. And as we add on all the different computer models, you can see that there's still some that carry it up towards us, some off towards the south. If you were to extrapolate those out, that would take them up towards South Carolina and Georgia. And that's why there's still some questions as to exactly what's going to happen. So let's take our two best computer models, the American in yellow and what has traditionally been even more superior to the American model, the European model here in red. And for the next couple of days, they're in pretty good agreement. We'll stop it Tuesday by midday, and again, pretty consistent with the storm here southwest of Bermuda. But as we get into Wednesday, that's where they start to diverge, with the American model a little bit farther to the north, the European model here a little bit farther to the south. And as we stop things here Thursday at 3 p.m., notice the American model has landfall somewhere here between Cape Hatteras and Cape Lookout, with the European model coming in here towards South Carolina. Now, this is a little significant because earlier today it had landfall somewhere here around Cape Hatteras, and yesterday out to sea. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that this trend continues off towards the southwest, with the American getting a little bit closer to the European model. But why is there this big difference? It all depends on how strong this big ridge of high pressure is off the coast of Canada. If it's fairly weak, that allows the storm to come up here more like the American model. If it's stronger, that'll push the storm more towards the south and closer to the European computer model. And this is the way that I'm leaning, at least for right now. And it looks like that's what the Hurricane Center is doing as well, shifting that track ever so slightly off towards the south. Now, when I come back, we'll take a look at a couple more computer models to let you know where I think that higher risk and the areas that will be most impacted preliminarily based on the latest information, and have the rest of our forecast, which is looking like a rainy one this weekend. That's in a few minutes. David?
Evan, thank you. August and September marked the peak of hurricane season. Since they began tracking tropical systems in 1851, 65% of hurricanes have formed in these 2 months. And of hurricanes that hit the U.S., 66% made landfall in August and September. Here's a helpful reminder, especially if you're new to Hampton Roads. As we wait on Florence, it's important to have an emergency kit ready to go. Think like you're going camping. Battery-powered items, manual everything, pack non-perishable food and plenty of water. Don't forget to have cash on hand in case the storm knocks out the ATMs. There is one group of people excited for the storm. You might have guessed it. It's surfers. They're getting ready to paddle out, even though officials warn of dangerous surf. 13 News Now reporter Stephen Graves has the story new tonight.
Right now, you could say there's a wave of excitement at VB Surf Sessions in Virginia Beach.
Anytime the swell gets big for hurricanes, we get excited for it.
Which means hunkering down around computer screens, all to see when the surf's up.
So then here's Florence coming in here, coming in hot too. So anytime you see red, purple, I mean, that's really big. We're 7-8 feet, which is pretty good for Virginia Beach.
Tony Polino and his team plan to start seeing effects offshore by Sunday. The bigger thrills to come later in the week. The Outer Banks will be a hot spot.
Hatteras is definitely going to get the best waves, the biggest waves.
And let's just say the expectations are high.
Hopefully getting barreled, fingers crossed, that the hurricane doesn't make landfall.
But while these experienced guys are having fun, lifeguards have another struggle with those a little less experienced.
Non-compliance from individuals that They don't want to listen to the lifeguards, and with constant whistle blowing.
Captain Ed Hosey says lifeguards will be out as those swells push in through the weekend and the week. But right now, since it's after Labor Day, the staff is smaller. They also cover a shorter span of beach.
Obviously, it's always best to swim near the lifeguards.
The plan right now is for lifeguards to move those stands to the back of the beach as Florence nears the coast. They say that'll happen around Sunday, but if that tells you anything, it's that if you don't know what you're doing in the water, you need to stay out of it. Reporting in Virginia Beach, Stephen Graves, 13 News Now.
Now to Sandbridge, where some residents say the narrow strip of land is vulnerable to strong storms. A $20 million beach replenishment project isn't expected to start until the winter. Since the early 90s, there have been 5 projects like that in Sandbridge, but neighbors say this upcoming project is long overdue.
We're supposed to be on a 3-year maintenance schedule with the city with regards to sand replenishment.
City leaders say not to worry, that the beach will hold if a storm moves through. They tell 13 News Now the original 3-year cycle is no longer necessary. Instead, they're stretching it to 5 to 6 years since they're using more material on the beach. Neighbors on the Outer Banks tell us they're not worried yet, but some of them are already preparing just in case.
Generator under the house, so I'll make sure that my gas cans are full. I usually have a pantry that's got basic stuff in there, so you'll have extras in case the power goes out. We have some boards behind the house if things get really bad.
Emergency managers in Dare County are reminding everyone that this weekend is the time to get a head start on a plan.
The sooner it's done, the more time they have to focus on other things. So things that they can do now, like getting their evacuation plans updated, knowing where they're going to go if an evacuation is ordered, having their disaster supply kits stocked and ready to go, and making sure their homes are ready and prepared.
On the top of that list, moving outdoor furniture inside, making sure doors lock and that windows can keep the elements out. Here's another look at Florence. The National Hurricane Center will release new data in their next advisory. That is due out at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Until then, check in with our hurricane guide on 13newsnow.com and our free app. That's where you can find the latest information as well as critical information to stay prepared. Live now to the Virginia Beach oceanfront, we're learning about a deal that would shift ownership of 2 hotels there. The Richmond Times-Dispatch reports Virginia Beach-based Gold Key PHR sold the Hilton and the Hilton Garden Inn. They say Chemin Hotels bought the properties. No word on how much the deal was worth, but the Times-Dispatch reports the properties are valued at more than $70 million. The deal also includes Neptune's Park and retail space across Atlantic Avenue. Right now, traffic is moving again after a hazmat spill on I-64 in Hampton. It happened in the westbound lanes just after 6 tonight. State police tell us a piece of wood punctured a box tank truck's fuel tank. Traffic was down to 1 lane while firefighters cleaned up the spill. Another home goes up in flames in Petersburg. It's the 5th time it's happened in 6 weeks. All 5 fires have happened within blocks of one another. Investigators find that suspicious. In fact, firefighters say at least 2 of the fires are the result of arson. Now neighbors are on edge.
Be a neighborhood watch, I guess, all the time, have somebody looking. I think that's what we're going to do on our street.
It's not just neighbors. Police say they're stepping up patrols.